What's going on, guys? In this video, I am going to talk about how and why your customers are really just a reflection of your marketing. So if you have terrible customers, it's because your marketing sucks. And I want to explain how that works and what you can do about it. So back when I was starting out as a freelance copywriter, one of the problems I was having early on was only working with amateur business owners. You know, no disrespect or anything, but that's just trying to factually describe them. They just were, their businesses were usually newer. They usually they didn't have a whole lot of traction. They weren't getting a lot of great results. And so of course that means that they couldn't really afford to pay very much. And so the big problem I was having here, and I was talking with a mentor of mine, and I was saying, like the few clients who have the budget where I can really do a lot for them, we're getting really great results. The problem is that most of my clients have such small budgets that I'm very limited into what I can do for them. So it's just not really generating much results because they can't afford to pay me enough for me to be able to do enough to really move the needle, because we're starting at a point with no traction. And obviously getting that initial traction is very difficult, and then it becomes easier to sustain once you have it, but they hadn't got to that step yet. And I was telling him how, I just keep running into this over and over. It just seems like people either can't afford my services or they just don't, they don't stick with it for very long. And anyways, then he said something that I'll never forget. And he said, poor marketing attracts poor people. He said something, there's a reason why you keep ending up in conversations with these people instead of businesses who could afford to pay you more, who would gladly want your services, and where you could actually be getting them better results. The thing is, you're just not marketing to those people. Even if you're trying to, you're not. It's whatever you're saying or whatever you're putting out there does not resonate with them, and the people that it does resonate with, those are the ones that you end up talking to. And so that was a kind of a big eye-opener for me, because it was one of those things where I didn't realize it, but as soon as he said it, I just knew it was true. I thought, okay, you're right. And I noticed that the big thing I was doing was with my marketing was I was targeting beginners. I was putting out a lot of how-to content, just talking, really trying to go, and I was going crazy in depth, like doing way more detailed of content than I ever do today. I mean, like just spending hours on every piece of content to have these insane detailed guides and everything. But then I realized that, okay, well, the person who's interested in this and is going to take the time to go through all this and then actually implement this, why would they need me? And it's not even a matter of I gave away all the secrets or anything, because most people will not actually follow through on the work, even if you do give away the quote unquote secrets. It was an issue of the content was catered towards the person who's doing the work instead of catered to the person who's hiring to do the work, and letting me be the person who would do the work, right? And so that was the big shift. But I'm going to talk about that, but there's also some little subtleties as well. So the big thing though is like that main targeting. So one thing you'll notice that with the content on this channel is I do a little bit of both. So sometimes I have videos that are more how-to videos where I'm talking more tactical, more formulas, more step-by-step, and those are really targeted towards email marketers, the people who are actually creating the emails, managing the emails, all that stuff. And you might be thinking, well, those people aren't going to be your target clients, so why are you doing that? Well, for one, I just like putting this content out there. I like helping people. It helps grow the channel. It's fulfilling. But the other thing is, like, look, I have a growing email marketing agency. I need email marketers. I need to hire email marketers. So if I can attract email marketers that are on the come up and they're willing to learn the strategies that I do and that I have my team do, then why would I not want to attract more of those people? Because that's going to serve my business in another way. It's not going to serve my business in terms of growing sales. It's going to help me with fulfillment, which is extremely important. And that's a challenge that businesses have as they grow. So that brings me to the other side. The other type of content I create is not for email marketers. It's for business owners. And in those videos, you notice I don't do any step-by-step. I don't do any, tactical, this is exactly how you do it. And there I'm just talking high-level strategy, because business owners are the strategists and the decision makers of the company. They're making the big strategy decisions, and they hire other people to implement and do all of the tactical stuff. So not only do they not care about all the little nitty-gritty details, they don't even want to waste their time with it, because that's just not how they operate, and that's not what's going to move the needle for them. For them, it's more about making fewer big and important decisions than it is doing a whole bunch of tasks, right? So because they're going to hire people to do those tasks. And you'll notice that I have these different types of videos. So the videos where I'm doing that, those are the videos where I'm really trying to talk more specifically to business owners, and I'm trying to get on their radar and trying to get their attention. Whereas the videos where I'm doing more how-to, more tactical, more step-by-step, that's again trying to get on the radar of email marketers. And both of those two things those two markets are markets that I want to create content for, but it's intentional. And again, so then you might be thinking, because actually, hold on, take a step back on that. So when you do this, it's not just about targeting. So it doesn't mean just choosing the right topics, because that's a start. And that's probably like, 70% of it. But from there, you have to do some other things too, because people can tell when you're faking it, right? So if you are targeting a type of a customer that you've never actually served before, or targeting, if you're in the business to business world and you're targeting a particular industry or particular type of business that you've never actually worked with before, people can tell because you don't say anything that shows that you know what they're thinking, right? So for example, whenever when I'm targeting email marketers, the stuff I'm talking about, I'm not afraid to use a little bit more technical language as far as segmentation and the different things you have to do within Klaviyo or your email service provider, versus when I am talking directly to business owners. I intentionally try to talk about problems that only business owners of 6- and 7-figure businesses are even aware of. So I don't talk about the problems that the upstart business owner is dealing with and what's on their day-to-day agenda, what they're thinking about. I don't talk about that stuff. I talk about things that you would have had to already seen it. You would have had to have already seen the business go from 6 to 7 figures to even understand the way the problems change and the way that the challenges change, and how certain things that used to be problems are a total non-issue anymore, and you just don't care anymore. So that's what I'm talking about, is people can tell if you don't know what you're talking about, and that's not going to resonate no matter how much you try to talk about a topic because you think they care about that topic. They need to see that you care about the topic they need to see that you actually understand that topic and that you care about that topic. So that means the details matter. So it's not just what you say, it's how you say it, it's the design, it's the things in the background of images. So for example, when you're designing emails, the nicer your design is, the more higher end your product looks, the more legit your product looks, and the more it's going to cater to the more discerning buyer. As much as people say that your website design doesn't matter and logo doesn't matter, it doesn't matter to just get some initial sales. It absolutely matters if you're going after the more discerning buyer, or the more luxury buyer, or the person who's used to dealing with businesses that actually care about the details. And they will notice if you are not for them, because not only is it just what you say in the copy and how the design looks, it's what's in the background of, for example, like the image, like the photography you use on your website and your marketing. Even if you're not taking photography, you're not coming up with new photography and you're just using stock photos, what's in the background? If you're selling to people who live in nice homes, but the stock photos look like someone who's living in an apartment, it's not going to resonate, right? Versus, if you have certain little subtlety things, like your type of customers also shop at Starbucks and shop at Target or whatever, and you've got these little, like you've got a Starbucks cup off in the background. Those little details matter. People pay attention to all that, and it makes a big difference in terms of like, are they convinced or not of your marketing? And then another big thing here is that you want to make it very easy for people to say yes or no, meaning that you want to make it very clear who you're for and who you're not for. So that a lot of times that just means literally spelling out that this is not for you if you fit these qualifications, or if you're looking for this, and make it easy for them to say no. That way the other people who would disagree with those things would say, okay, good. So I know that this is at least not for me. And then you would say, this is for the person who's trying to, XYZ, whatever, describe the situation. And again, you're making it very clear. So, and part of that is again subtle, because how would you know if the ideal customer for this particular product or service, if you're willing to say no to people, how would you know that? How would you know who to say no to? How would you know why to say no to them? You would have had to have already worked with those people, or you would have had to have done your research and really taken the time to understand your market, which means it's more likely your product or service is going to be better for those people because you did put the time in to actually understand the market and get to know them. And all of this comes through in your marketing. And again, it's not what you say, that's the start. You know, the actual topics and what you're talking about, that's the start. It's how you say it, it's when you say it, it's what you don't say, and it's the subtleties of what's going on around you and the design and all of that. So again, going back to just using this YouTube channel, for example, you might be thinking, well, okay, so if you're trying to target, 6 and 7 figure business owners in certain videos or talking more about strategy, why do you always dress so casual? And that's because I work mostly with e-commerce business owners and everyone's casual, and it's weird whenever you show up in a suit versus if you're in the finance world and you're working I've worked in more conservative industries in the past, where, whenever I would show up to pitch someone in a previous line of work when I was in the oil industry, if we weren't suited up with a tie and, lace up shoes, like if you wore slip-on shoes to a pitch meeting, no one would take you seriously because you just looked like you had no idea how to dress even. Like you just didn't even know the first thing about fitting in this world. And again, it doesn't really matter what I would say if I didn't look the part and I didn't interact with them and even like kind of know the lingo and all that. There would have been no interest in what I said beyond that because they already would think like he's not one of us, or he's never been here before. He hasn't done this before. So those details matter. So if you right now are saying, hey, either you're not getting any customers or you're not getting good customers, maybe you just don't like your customers, maybe you're getting customers that complain a lot and do a lot of returns, maybe your customers are really cheap and they can't afford whatever you sell, the first place you got to look is your marketing, and look at, and start not only just examining your marketing compared to other competitors in your space, but maybe get some real feedback, like show your marketing to people who have never seen your website or your emails before, and have them guess the positioning of your product, have them guess like what's the pricing of this product, what's the quality, all of that, and get candid feedback, because you will find that maybe you are too close to it, and because you know so much about it that you're reading in between the lines, but that's not actually being conveyed in your marketing, and what everyone else is seeing is something that resonates with the wrong people for your business. So again, the lesson here, poor marketing attracts poor people. You can fill in those descriptions however you want, but just remember that everything you put out should be a reflection of who you want to attract to your business. So that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.